The entertainment world woke up to a jolt of confusion and concern today as reports emerged that Shen Yue had been found after an apparent overnight fall from a balcony. The story spread at lightning speed, fueled by fragmented details, emotional fan reactions, and one particularly unsettling question that refuses to go away. Where was Dylan Wang when it all happened? What makes this situation so gripping is not just the incident itself, but the strange, almost cinematic gaps in the narrative. According to early information circulating online, Shen Yue was discovered in the early hours of the morning outside a private residence. She was reportedly conscious but disoriented, a detail that has both relieved and alarmed fans. Relief because she was alive. Alarm because no one seems to know exactly how she ended up there. The setting adds another layer of intrigue. The residence in question is rumored to be connected to ongoing production work, possibly tied to a yet unannounced project. If true, that raises a series of unsettling possibilities. Was this a simple accident during a late-night break? A misstep in an unfamiliar environment? Or something more complicated, something that people are not yet ready to talk about? The absence of clear answers has created a vacuum, and in that vacuum, speculation is growing rapidly. Social media platforms have become flooded with theories, some grounded, others wildly imaginative. Yet, even among the noise, one detail stands out as particularly strange: the lack of any immediate, coherent timeline. No confirmed witnesses. No verified sequence of events. Just a sudden discovery and a cascade of questions. And then there is Dylan Wang, known to many fans as Dylan Yang, whose name has become inseparable from Shen Yue's in the public imagination. Their on-screen partnership captured millions of viewers, creating a bond that fans have followed closely ever since. Whether appearing together or separately, their careers have often been discussed in tandem, which makes his current absence from the narrative all the more striking. Reports indicate that Dylan Wang has not made any public statement since the news broke. For a figure of his visibility, silence can feel louder than words. It has led fans to wonder whether he was present at the location earlier in the evening, whether he had already left, or whether his connection to the situation is being overstated entirely. Without confirmed information, every possibility feels simultaneously plausible and uncertain. What adds to the tension is how quickly the story has escalated from concern into something almost surreal. Within hours, online discussions began dissecting every known detail of Shen Yue's recent schedule, her public appearances, even her past interviews. Some users pointed out moments where she appeared unusually tired or reflective, retroactively interpreting them as signs of hidden stress. Others pushed back, warning against reading too much into isolated clips and reminding people how easily narratives can be constructed after the fact. Meanwhile, industry insiders are being unusually cautious. Statements from representatives have been brief and carefully worded, emphasizing that Shen Yue is receiving medical attention and asking for privacy. There has been no mention of the exact nature of her injuries, if any, or how severe the fall may have been. That silence has only intensified curiosity, because in a media environment that thrives on constant updates, restraint often signals that something significant is still unfolding behind the scenes. The physical details of the fall itself remain one of the most puzzling aspects. Balconies, by their nature, introduce a complex mix of variables. Height, structure, barriers, lighting conditions, even weather can all influence what happens in a split second. Without knowing these specifics, it is almost impossible to reconstruct the event with any confidence. Yet people are piecing together imagined scenarios in an attempt to make sense of something that currently resists explanation. Some observers have pointed out how rare it is for such incidents to emerge with so little immediate clarity, especially involving a public figure. In many cases, there is at least a preliminary account, a basic outline of what occurred. Here, the lack of a clear starting point makes everything feel more unstable, as though the story itself is still searching for its shape. At the same time, there is a more human dimension that risks being overshadowed by the drama. Shen Yue is not just a headline or a mystery. She is a person who, by all available accounts, went through a frightening and potentially traumatic experience. The The fact that she was found conscious suggests resilience, but it also raises questions about what she remembers and what she may eventually choose to share. Fans around the world have begun organizing messages of support, flooding comment sections with well wishes and calls for patience. There is a growing recognition that while curiosity is natural, speculation can quickly cross into something harmful. Still, the unanswered questions remain, hovering over every discussion. The role of Dylan Wang in all of this continues to be the most emotionally charged aspect. If he was present at any point during the night, his perspective could provide crucial clarity. If he was not, then his silence may simply reflect a desire to avoid adding confusion to an already volatile situation. Either way, the gap between what people want to know and what is currently known is creating a sense of narrative tension that feels almost scripted, except this is real life, and the stakes are far higher. There is also the broader context of celebrity culture to consider. Incidents like this reveal how quickly public figures can become the center of intense, sometimes overwhelming scrutiny. Every detail is magnified, every absence noticed, every delay interpreted. In such an environment, even ordinary uncertainties can take on dramatic proportions. As the hours pass, the hope is that more concrete information will emerge. Medical updates, official statements, perhaps even a direct account from Shen Yue herself could begin to replace speculation with facts. Until then, the story remains suspended in a kind of limbo, defined as much by what is unknown as by what has been reported. What makes this moment particularly striking is how it blends concern, mystery, and the power of collective attention. Millions of people are watching, waiting, and trying to understand. The narrative is evolving in real time, shaped by fragments of information and the emotional responses they trigger. For now, one thing is clear. This is not just another fleeting headline. It is a developing situation with real consequences, both for Shen Yue's well-being and for the people connected to her, directly or indirectly. Whether the final explanation turns out to be simple or complex, the journey to that answer is already revealing just how powerful, and sometimes unsettling, the intersection of fame and uncertainty can be. Until more details surface, the questions linger. What exactly happened on that balcony? How did Shen Yue end up where she was found? And why, in a moment when clarity feels so urgently needed, is there still so much silence surrounding Dylan Wang? As the day stretches on, the atmosphere around the incident continues to shift in subtle but telling ways. What began as a burst of shock is gradually turning into something heavier, more contemplative. People are no longer just reacting. They are analyzing, connecting fragments, and trying to anticipate what the next revelation might be. The longer the silence lasts, the more significant it begins to feel. Hospitals, by nature, are places of controlled information, and in situations involving public figures, that control becomes even tighter. Reports suggest that Shen Yue remains under observation, but the absence of detailed medical updates has created an almost suspended reality, where concern exists without a clear measure of severity. This uncertainty is powerful. It keeps the public emotionally invested while simultaneously preventing any definitive conclusions. Behind the scenes, industry dynamics are also quietly shifting. Productions linked to Shen Yue are rumored to be reassessing schedules, not necessarily out of crisis, but out of caution. In entertainment, timing is everything, and moments like this can ripple outward in unexpected ways. A single unexplained incident can influence contracts, release plans, and even casting decisions, especially when public perception becomes part of the equation. At the same time, there is growing attention on the environment in which the incident occurred. People are beginning to ask more grounded questions. Was the balcony structurally secure? Were there safety measures in place? Was it a private moment interrupted by circumstance, or part of a larger gathering that has yet to be fully acknowledged? These are not dramatic questions, but they are important ones, because they move the conversation away from speculation and toward accountability. The silence around Dylan Wang is also evolving in how it is perceived. Earlier, it felt mysterious. Now it feels strategic, or at least deliberate. In the absence of a statement, interpretations multiply. Some believe he is waiting for verified information before speaking, aware that any premature comment could worsen the situation. Others think there may be legal or professional advice guiding his restraint. There is also a quieter possibility that often goes unspoken, that he may simply be processing the situation privately, away from the intensity of public reaction. What is particularly striking is how quickly narratives are being built and dismantled in real time. A single unverified claim can gain traction within minutes, only to be questioned or contradicted shortly after. This constant cycle creates a sense of instability, where nothing feels fully reliable, yet everything feels urgent. It highlights a deeper truth about modern media consumption. The speed of information often outpaces its accuracy. Amid all of this, there is a growing call for perspective. Some voices are urging others to remember that not every unanswered question hides a dramatic answer. Sometimes, the reality of an incident is far simpler than the stories constructed around it. An accident can be just that, an accident. But until clarity arrives, the human mind tends to fill gaps with possibilities, especially when the people involved are so widely recognized. For now, the story remains open-ended, its final shape still unknown. What is certain is that when the full account eventually emerges, it will likely feel very different from the fragmented version unfolding now. Until then, the world continues to watch, caught between concern, curiosity, and the uneasy awareness that not everything can be understood in the moment it happens.